All right, turning now to a look at Parliament Hill on this very snowy Sunday as we look ahead to the final week the House is sitting for this year. The Liberal government's pipeline agreement with Alberta will be taking center stage with a Conservative opposition motion expected on Tuesday. Let's bring in political analyst Lori Turnbull. Lori, good to see you. Let's begin with that motion from the opposition that would force a pipeline vote in the House of Commons this week. How do you think this will all play out?
Well, I think it's smart politics on the part of the Conservatives. I think that they sense a bit of division in the Liberal caucus about support for the pipeline or support for a possible pipeline. And so, remember that the motion is not binding. It doesn't mean anything in terms of the future of a potential pipeline or the business around it or anything like that. If this all goes, if this all catches fire, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be a pipeline. It just means that the Conservatives are wanting to push the Liberals in terms of where the caucus is on this motion. And so, for example, MPs from British Columbia in the Liberal caucus, some of them have really been going out of their way, I think, to try to create some distance between themselves and this decision on the part of the Carney government. And so they're trying to create a sense that, look, we're hearing people who have reservations about this. We're hearing people who are concerned that perhaps there hasn't been enough consultation with First Nations. And so I think the point of this motion from the Conservatives is to see what those British Columbia MPs do. Are they going to support it? Are they going to go out and say they don't? Are they going to stay home? And then the Conservatives will reap whatever benefits come from that.
And speaking of pushback, to your point on that deal with Alberta, we also saw Stephen Guilbeault stepping down from cabinet. As we look towards the end of this session and ahead to the next, what do you expect to see from Mark Carney?
It's going to be an interesting week, and partly because of the motion that the Conservatives are going to bring through on Tuesday, but also because of the progress of the budget bill. It's still stuck in that second vote stage where it hasn't gone to a second reading vote yet. We still hear MPs come up to speak to it. And so I think we can see the politics around the budget playing out in a sense in the way that the Liberals have not figured out necessarily how exactly to get this thing through the current minority parliament. The last minority parliament, they had a partner in the NDP. They didn't have to worry about this type of thing because the NDP would get on board with them and push things through. But in this parliament, because the Conservatives are quite strong in number and are not interested in supporting the Liberals, and the NDP they've lost official party status and they don't have that partnership with the Liberals, even on procedural votes, even on things like just getting the budget through the second reading to committee, the Liberals are having a hard time with that. It's not a confidence issue. It doesn't mean that we're going to, the government's going to blow down, we're going to go to election. But even things like just the progress of their agenda is being, there's a lot of pushback from the Conservatives. And so I don't even know if they'll get this thing to committee, honestly, before the House rises for the winter break, which means that they don't plan to return until January 26th, which means all of the stuff that's in the budget maybe won't even get to committee until then. And so it really kind of pushes back on the government's agenda.
Time is ticking. All right, Lori, thank you very much for this. That is Lori Turnbull, political analyst. Great chatting with you.